So if you're in the market for a new microplane, you may have some trouble picking the right one for you. The website of MicroPlane has a bunch of different models in these different lines or families, whatever you want to call them. And it's pretty tough to differentiate from one to the next. This video hopefully will make it a little bit easier to choose your next microplane. And it's notable because they all use fundamentally the same grading or zesting or whatever technology. That design is essentially the same, but the different handles and different accessories will vary from one level to the next. Also, the price is fairly notable. Between the base model and one of the elite models, you might be looking at 60, 70% more money, and maybe in absolute terms, this is 12 and this is 18 or 20. But if you have to buy these multiple times a year, or if you have to buy a bunch of them for, say, a kitchen, or if you're on a budget, then it can make a big difference. So I have basically all of them, and I wanted to do some quick comparisons. First up is this. This is the base model microplane. Again, sells for, I don't know what, $12, $13. I don't want to get too much in the specifics of the pricing, which is going to vary. They call this the Classic Series, and it is basically the standard steel microplane. This is a zester model. The company differentiates between zesting and grading. Mainly zesting is very fine and grading is more coarse. And you could basically tell the difference in how large these holes are. These little apertures here that look like a C or a U. And how raised the ridges are. That's gonna be really hard to tell in video, but obviously you could tell in person. Just for comparison's sake, here is a zester, and here we have, we'll remove this cover, and here we have a grater. You can see a much larger hole, about 3 times the size there, maybe 4 times the size. It doesn't have a giant impact on the end result, but it's definitely notable. Okay, so this is the classic one. No handle, no accoutrement, nothing like that. So it makes it very easy to clean. It's dishwasher safe. No plastic at all, which is nice. So you don't have to worry about heat, and nothing to wear out. And you get a full surface. You get about 1 foot of zesting. One of the big things I would note is that here's an upgrade model. This is called the Premium Series. About 1/4 of your zesting area or grading area, whatever you want to call it, has been replaced by handle. So is it easier to hold? Yes, but you're definitely losing some, essentially it's going to be longevity, because as these things wear out, these little ridges, they get less sharp, and also they get pushed down. So more surface area is better. It's hard to use this with no handle. It's definitely a shortcoming, but you could hold this on the sides. This one, you can't hold on the sides because the grading wraps around, but the trade-off is you have a nice ergonomic handle. So just keep in mind that even though the premium models, they cost more money and they're easier to hold, there's actually a really practical trade-off. Here you have another large handle, but increased width. So there's a bit of a trade-off there with surface area, whereas the surface area is probably similar between this one and this one, but much less handle, or much less length rather. Okay, just to close it out on the base model, called the Classic, no handle, has some hooks for hanging, all steel, made in the USA, which is all good details, and it comes with a cover. This is just a protective cover to, to keep this thing from getting banged around in a drawer. Next model up is this one. This is called the Premium Series. This is also a zester. And this is probably kind of the mainstay for household users. This one bumps the price up to about $16 or so, maybe $14, $16. Handles come in a bunch of different colors. It's a rubberized handle with some kind of like fake metal here. It's like plasticized metal. And hook for hanging. You have a very similar design here as the Classic, another hook here, except this model wraps around. So sometimes you could even use this one on a vertical if you have trouble getting that last little bit of Parmesan or whatever. So you have some versatility there. It's very comfortable to hold, where the Classic is not at all comfortable to hold, but you sacrifice some of that length. Now we have this one. This is called the Gourmet. And this one I have it in a coarse, which is the grater, and it's for grating, you know, carrots, cheese, garlic, stuff like that. Stuff like chocolate would be a big one for a grater, where you wouldn't want it to be super, super fine. This one also comes with a cover. They all come with covers. And the Gourmet series has basically the same handle. Comes in, obviously, I have this one in black, whatever. Hook for hanging. Increased width here. That's helpful for the grating. I think they do have some smaller versions. Actually, no. It doesn't have any smaller versions, but it does have this piece here. Sorry about that. You have a much wider surface area, which is helpful for larger items. Again, if you're grating cheese and you have to grate a cup of cheese, it could be exhausting with this thing. With a width like this, it's not so bad. And here's the difference. You can see this one has a lot more surface area, which it's about 3 times the width and about 60% of the height. So you could do the math, but you're getting a lot more. This one has a little piece of rubber here that can roll. Basically, you would just use that to hold down, and you could use this on a surface. You could also put this over a bowl, and this little hook attachment here will kind of hang it on and keep it stable. But mainly it's for this, and you could roll it down if you don't want to make too much of a pile. This is a nice upgrade. Again, I think this one's maybe $16 or so, a couple dollars more than the premium and a couple dollars less than the elite models. Here we have this one. This is also a zester. This is the elite series, and this is in the sort of the skinnier version of the elite. I'll pull this back and we can see an upgrade with the elite is you have this. This serves as a cover, but also you could flip it around, and now you could zest into it, and you keep track of how much you're zesting. So these are probably, you know, milliliters on this side, and then teaspoons on this side. So you can go up to 55 milliliters of whatever you're zesting. Typically zesting, you know, maybe it would be milliliters, maybe it's not. And it has a little foot here for some stability. It doesn't stand. The foot is just for some stability when you're placing it down, things like that. Here you have extra width compared to the premium model. Not as wide as the Gourmet, so it does split the difference here. Good length, about the same length as the premium. You have an integrated handle here. So instead of having an extra handle or like an accessory type handle where it's on the end, it's kind of like, looks like it's been glued on. It's kind of built into it the way you have a sort of a tang. This one is new. I haven't even used this one yet. I just wanted to talk through the features in this video, but it does come nicely packaged and nicely protected. Not all of them ship as well protected. So that's really nice there. And again, haven't used this one, but the focus I've been talking about is on the handle. It's more comfortable, and you have some extra grip on the back. It's a rubberized backing. So we'll talk more about this one in the future as I've gotten some used to it, but from a feature standpoint, better handle, extra width, and that is the Elite in the Zester. This is also an Elite, but this is a grater. And what this one does is you move to a slightly different design. You can see it is large, it's cupped. This one has the larger holes here, and I have been using this one. This thing will go through a piece of cheese or a piece of chocolate very, very quickly. And you have the same handle. Probably really why I didn't test this one out, because I've been using this one so much. And same handle, quite comfortable. A lot of extra surface area here. It's a smaller shape, so it's a little bit easier to maneuver. And you can see it's kind of scooped at the bottom, which is really nice for putting it down on a table. Being part of the Elite series, this one also has the protective cover, which you can use to grate into, and you could just grate and measure. This one has extra capacity, so what's that, 200 milliliters, and up to, I think that's 1 cup. So if you want to use chocolate or something, or cheese, where you're going to do a fair bit of volume, you have this one. And again, this has the coarse, sorry, it's the fine, the fine holes, the fine grating, but it is in the grater, you know, it's a grater design, but it's a fine grater. There's also a coarse grater. Even finer than this would be a zester. I find it to be very confusing. Maybe it's not, I don't know. But here you have the Elite grater. This is a nice design. This one's getting you, I think, over $20, maybe $22, something like that. But you can see it's got a lot of stainless steel, the upgraded handle, serious capacity for your grating. Last up, this is an OXO, so it's not a MicroPlane. And this is, I've been using this one for maybe 1.5 years, 2 years, and it's basically shot. These little grate things have been just worn out or pressed down, and the quality of this one is not nearly as high as that from MicroPlane. I don't know if MicroPlane makes these planes for OXO. I wouldn't think so. This thing is not good, and I wouldn't recommend it. There's a number of companies that make MicroPlane-like graters and zesters, including OXO, and usually I don't have a problem with their products, but I would not recommend this one. So I guess the moral of the story would be, if you want a MicroPlane, buy one from the company MicroPlane. They're sold on their website, and they're also sold a bunch of other places, so you don't have to buy it directly from them. This last order I did was direct from them to benefit from some sales they were having. But so let's just summarize here. You have your classic, premium, gourmet, and elite in the standard style, and then the grater style. Out of all of these, my favorite is just the standard classic. I feel like you're getting far and away the most bang for your buck. I don't mind holding this, and you know, if it takes a little bit longer to grate or zest something, that's fine with me. I don't need the coarse or the fine or anything like that. The standard MicroPlane for me is basically ideal for every set of circumstances. If I wasn't gonna buy this, then I would go towards the premium. This handle is a little bit more comfortable. It's quite easy to use, and it does have some feet here, so you can take some advantages and get some rest in it. The other ones, the Elites, again, I've used this one a whole bunch, used this one a whole bunch. They're good, but I don't think it's worth the extra money, and I wouldn't trouble myself with tracking them down. These two are both a lot more common. You could find them at, you know, Bed Bath & Beyond, Whole Foods, anything Williams-Sonoma, wherever you're shopping, they'll be right there, sitting there if you don't want to order away for them. And then it's the two cheapest models. I don't think it's worth upgrading to the other ones. Something like this is pretty good, but you know what? You're getting pretty close to a box plane at this point, or a box grater at this point. So yeah, it's nice to have it in a handle. I prefer this shape over the box size, but you know, the utility is not too much different. And MicroPlane, you know, is higher quality than most box graters, but ultimately the performance isn't going to be giant, you know, usually different. So I would say stick to the basics, save some money, and I would much rather have 2 of these classics any day than one of the upgraded elite models. They look great, but they don't really end up working that much better. But again, that's from a non-professional user, and just someone that spent some time, probably too much time, thinking about these. Okay, thanks for watching.